Hi, today I'm going to be giving you some information regarding some very peculiar activity that's been transpiring since the October 1st Las Vegas shooting. I know some of you probably already realize I've talked about being a conspiracy theorist in the past. It's not really a conspiracy theorist, and when I say it like it's a war wound and not something to be feeling bad about, because it's just you're asking questions. And there are a lot of questions that really need to be asked. For example, why are people who survived the Las Vegas shooting, a lot of them turning up dead? Now, in order to be fair, we would need to do some sort of statistical analysis based on demographics, age, and so forth, and accidents, and rate of death, like say, how many in 20 days would be dead out of 20,000, if that's how many people were at the concert. Because we have now half dozen more, at least we have at least 7. And I will have a lot of links in the description box, far more than what I'm going to go over and tell you. I'm guessing you guys don't want these videos to be like you have to pack a lunch to go through them. So at your leisure, please look in the description box. First man was John-Beilman in his Fairport home. The FBI searched his house one day, and the next day he committed a murder-suicide. FBI agents searched the Fairport home of John-Beilman the day before he shot his severely disabled daughter and himself. Should I make these bigger so you can see? I don't know. It's probably better if I do it that way. Yep. Okay. FBI agents executed the search warrant at Beilman's Williamsburg Drive home on Tuesday, the day before he took his daughter, Nicole, into the backyard and shot her and then himself with a 12-gauge shotgun. The daughter was 27, had Rett syndrome, which is a rare neurological disorder. She was wheelchair-bound and dependent on her parents for care. There is an additional link in the description box, which I found very interesting, which alluded to some sort of Russian mafia ties along with his name. Next is Kymberley. Kymberley, who is 28 years old, who I mentioned in a previous video, where she was an eyewitness who was adamant that there were multiple shooters. Okay, multiple shooters. She wrote a very lengthy Facebook post that depicts that. Here's one excerpt. I thought to myself, we need to hide, but as I looked quickly for somewhere to go, the gunfire once again got closer and closer. We couldn't hide because they, and I do mean they, were chasing us. That exact moment is when I started to really panic, and that was the moment where I thought this was it. Now, they don't have this in this article right here, but in her full disclosure, she specifically mentions calling her husband at 10:07 p.m. 10:07 p.m. I would use that as my benchmark. She said 3 volleys of gunfire had occurred. They had been running. I would say that the gunfire started probably before 10 p.m. I don't care what all these experts have to say about what they want to stick to their time about when Jesus Campos was shot. I would use this account. Of course, are they putting it out there so that we could use it? Because it does negate what Campos has said. Follow the links in the description box. 28 years old, dead. Next one. Here we have, 27th, an eyewitness who was found dead in an abandoned house. Another eyewitness in the Las Vegas shooting massacre who was reported being chased by 2 gunmen. He went against the narrative. He had said that there were multiple people. His body was found in a vacant home in the northeastern valley after a woman heard a man groaning from inside the building, and that raised the alarm. says he is in a long line of witnesses from the Las Vegas massacre earlier this month to have been killed or gone missing. These are really good links if you just really want to go down a rabbit hole. You just really want to do that today, this Sunday, the 29th. Going to the next one. Why do I think Snopes is crap? Okay, well, let's see. Did Mandalay Bay hotel worker vanish after giving an interview? They come out bashing this other guy. A disreputable website published an illogical and inaccurate conspiracy theory about a valet worker who reportedly had a brush with the Las Vegas gunman. Claim is false, they say, is false. And then they go on to say, among the many conspiracy theories surrounding the mass shooting, I like how they, what words they emphasize, shooting in Vegas, Nevada, was that involving Chad Nishimura. He was a valet worker who said he parked Stephen Paddock's car at the hotel, and then he disappeared. And then there was back and forth saying he didn't disappear. Then he posts, you have to love the social media. It's helpful. It's helpful. He says, okay, everyone, I was at the concert, thankfully. He cut his wristband off. He didn't go on Sunday, but he did park his car. It's been rough, he says. Conspiracy theory is illogical and not supported by any evidence, contradicted by other evidence, and is false. He, these guys, Snopes here, says Neon Nano is a history of publishing inaccurate conspiracy theories, hoaxes, and other fabricated content. Whatever Snopes says is wrong, they become kind of like somebody who I'll go to listen to. It's kind of like I treat the Pope in a similar fashion. If the Pope doesn't like somebody, they might not be that bad of a person. Put that feather in Donald Trump's cap. Okay, next. Well, here we go. The man that wasn't missing, the non-missing man, missing Las Vegas shooting witness shot dead outside of a church. Chad Nishimura, killed after giving conflicting statements about Stephen Paddock. Yep, mysteriously vanished after giving his statement that conflicted with the official narrative. Because basically what he said was, Stephen Paddock seemed like a normal guy who didn't have many bags. Boy, it would suck to be on the wrong side of the dirt because you just said somebody seemed normal and they didn't have a lot of bags. Go against the grain and you'll feel the pain. Good article there, but Snopes, guess what? Guess you're wrong. Wonder if you'll be writing a retraction on that. Yep, probably not. Didn't think so. Moving on. Couple dies in fiery crash after surviving the Las Vegas massacre. This is updated just yesterday. This is a California couple who survived the shooting and died in a car crash on the 16th. I'm sorry, on October 16th, and this is minutes from their Riverside County home. So this was not an unfamiliar territory or terrain. This is just on their way home. They crashed into a metal gate outside their community at 10:50 p.m. Was it a new gate? Did they just install this gate? How many times have they been driving? What were the road conditions? Was it slippery when wet? What was going on that evening? Where were they? Where were they coming from? What were they doing exactly? Where had they just been? Was there any look into their cell phones or anything like that? Boy, there should be a lot of questions, like lots. The couple attended the Harvest Fest 1 month ago, they said. Really, it wasn't a month. It was just a couple weeks from their death. And as soon as he realized he was hearing gunfire, Dennis Carver jumped on top of his wife to cover her body. After several lulls, they ran for their lives. I'm just paraphrasing, guys. You can read this stuff, okay? He was 52. She was 53. They leave behind 2 daughters, Brooke and Madison. The kids say that after the shooting, they heard from all the people they cared about the most, and they were so happy. The last 2 weeks of their lives, they just spent living in the moment. That's what they say. The daughters describe their dad as strong, independent. Their mom is humble and generous. 3 days after the massacre, Dennis sends his wife a beautiful bouquet. She posts it, again, social media. Flowers are surprise, beautiful flowers. She says she is the most amazing husband. Not only did he shield my body during the shooting, but then he sends me flowers today. I am blessed. About a week after the crash that killed their parents, Brooke and her sister received a memento in the mail. The Federal Bureau of Investigation found her father's phone at the site of the shooting and mailed it back. When we turned it on, all his photos and messages were still there, Brooke said. This is how we know they're looking down and watching over us. I find that interesting because how do they really know that that was all of their photos and their messages? I mean, did they see them before and then they see them now? How do they know that was all of them? I don't understand how they would know that. And there was information that people's cell phones and laptops and so forth were erased. These are people that worked the event. This couple here would be, you know, everyday civilians, not working the event. So that's that right there. Now, of course, when you look through and you try and do searches, you got to pick through a lot of crap. I have so much good stuff in the description box. Please look in there. You don't have to pick through all of it like I did for hours on end. What's amazing is what you'll see filtered through more so than anything else is about a man who was harassed. Now, let me say, I do not advocate or suggest anybody harass anybody who's been named as a survivor of this event. I also want to stress once again that when people say false flag event, a false flag event does not mean that nobody died. It does not mean that it was all just fake. I'd like to give you an analogy that I've just developed, okay? If you've ever been to a symphony, when you go in to a symphony, you will see the conductor and you will see the people. Now, sometimes elaborate, you know, in elaborate places where you would go to halls and so forth, you don't, they're underneath, you know, they're underneath the stage. You don't even see them. Everybody in the symphony has their own little thing to do. They don't have to do anything but know what they have to do. And they're trained to do what they have to do. And it's independent in so many ways. And it all works together. And it's amazing how, you know, someone, their whole entire thing could just be hitting something 2 times, you know, playing one chord, blowing their horn, you know, in this segment and not the other. But at the end of it, it comes together like a beautiful masterpiece. I believe these crises events are like symphonies of chaos. These are symphonies of chaos is what they are. And you have a conductor and he is waving his wand and telling who's going to sing and play like this and that and that. And you wouldn't even be able to understand what it sounds like if you just saw it independently. You know, the same thing is true with the symphony. Think of a symphony. Believe me, I'm very skeptical. I know there are some people, you know, that you've voiced your opinion. You know, you listen to my stuff and you don't believe that there were any victims. You think it's all fake. It's easier to just think all or nothing. It's so much harder to kind of divvy it out and try and hash it out, okay? But you should hash it out. And, you know, come at things, God, I know I say this, and sometimes I am the last person that has patience to do it, but you get it, you know, try to come at things without being too defensive. Really. I mean, it's just, if you want to be productive, some days it's like 2 tears in a bucket. Fuck it. I don't care if I'm productive. People piss me off. And hey, that's just human emotion. I get this way too, you know, but I you know, don't attack people if they say they're victims. I mean, you gotta understand, reality is all up in your head for a lot of people. Some things, and perspective is something else too. Not today's topics though. At any rate, please look over this. Do not harass anybody. This guy, I'm not picking at him because he has like a foreign last name. He's a Canadian, and who was harassed. He was told his soul was dark and you'll pay the price for your consequences. Yeah, you know, there's no need to attack that person. Find that information, you know. But he's like the only one mentioned when they talk about people are being, you know, the survivors are being harassed. This is really the only one that I found through the whole string. And again, for as many times as they repeat him and his name over in times, and they don't say anything about these other couples, yes, you look and see what they're not telling you, not what they are telling you. Okay, I hope everybody has a great day and be safe. Please, you know, if you have links like this, I like when people share links that are relative to the content, and I always open them up because when people scroll through, you may find something that's you know, a lot more substantial, you know, that kind of cross covers. It's just good to be aware. It's good to know. So, all right, guys, have a great day. Bye.